Tonight on Strawberry Ink, we're diving into a case that shook South Carolina to its core. A once powerful attorney, a gruesome double murder, and a family dynasty crumbling under the weight of corruption. And this is the story of Alex Murdaugh himself, the man who went from legal royalty to convicted killer. To my Muslim friends, I hope you're having a nice Ramadan. And I also hope you are all having a nice Lent, whether you celebrate or not. I am currently working on further true crime episodes. I have a list of cases, but many scripts I have to finish them. I've just been busy, but I've been working pretty hard. I've been pretty happy too. Everyone is welcome in my podcast. I'm a very friendly and open person. I am respectful, despite me saying nasty things about those who offended me. I still try to be a sweet person. I try to be polite and use manners, unlike the people I shame. Just like Hussy Faith, who I mentioned in my episode of the OSU stabbings. Or it might be called Ohio State stabbings, who knows? I don't really remember at this time. It's pretty late at night, past midnight, and I'm recording and working hard. As well as Slutty Skylar, who I as well mentioned in that episode. There are many more I should mention, but I'll have to mention them in another episode, 'cause they're not in my mind at the moment. But there's so many disrespectful people who just get away with their rudeness. And Jen DeWitt, the HR at Ohio State University, she supports racism, you know. Definitely, she's hiding it. Sending racism-related complaints to another office where a black lady works. I bet Jen would love it if she was allowed to play KKK videos in her office. She works in a building different from the one where Faith works. And some police departments in Ohio listening to Faith and her people are just stupid. The Ohio State University Campus Police, Columbus Police Department. Well, they didn't really listen to Faith, but they're still stupid. But some who have listened to Faith a few times, the Hilliard Police Department. How pathetic. Some Ohio suburbs fed off the KKK and even did KKK rituals. Anyways, I'm getting so off topic. Let me get back in topic. Alex Murdaugh was part of the Murdaugh family, a dynasty of lawyers that held power in South Carolina's Low Country for generations. For nearly a century, his relatives served as solicitors, wielding influence over the legal system, but on the night of June 7th, 2021, that legacy turned into something far darker. That evening, Alex's wife Maggie and their son Paul were brutally shot to death at the family's Hunting estate in Islandton. The murders were horrific. Paul was shot twice with a shotgun, and Maggie was gunned down with a rifle. The weapons were different, but one thing was clear. Someone had executed them, and the first person to find the bodies, Alex Murdaugh himself. At 10:06 p.m., Alex called 911, his voice frantic as he claimed to have just discovered the horrific scene near the dog kennels. He insisted he had nothing to do with it, that he had been visiting his elderly mother at the time, but investigators quickly found holes in his story. At first, police didn't name a suspect, but behind the scenes, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, known as SLED, had already zeroed in on Alex. And soon, more cracks in his story would appear. Investigators recovered a key piece of evidence, Paul Murdaugh's phone. On it, a video taken at 8:44 p.m., just minutes before the estimated time of death. In the video, Alex's voice can be heard in the background. The problem? Alex had told police he wasn't there. What a liar. He maintained that lie for over a year. But that wasn't all. Authorities began uncovering shocking financial crimes committed by Alex. He had stolen millions from clients, including from the family of his housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, who died under mysterious circumstances at the Murdaugh home. And there was something else. Paul Murdaugh had been under indictment at the time for causing the death of a 19-year-old named Mallory Beach on February 24th, 2019. This was a boating accident in which Paul had been accused of drunk driving. Paul had allegedly purchased alcohol with his brother's idea, as he was underage, and drove drunk, crashing the boat into a bridge. Was someone targeting Paul, or was Alex trying to shift the focus away from his own crimes? In this interim, there would be no action taken against Alex for several months. With the murders, but some other things would spark. Alex was suspected to have tampered with the investigation regarding his son's boating accident. As I mentioned in part 1 of this story, his son Paul was murdered and never stood trial for that incident. Then in part 2, I discussed the Murdaugh stairs case, yet another crime case regarding the family's housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield. She had fallen from the family home stairs the year before the boating accident on February 2nd, 2018, and died. Nobody really knows how she fell. I have heard so many things. Maybe Maggie pushed her. Maybe the dogs made her trip, what Alex claimed. Anyways, if Maggie did push her, she won't be held accountable because she is now dead too. Gloria's 2 sons were supposed to get insurance money from their mother's death, but that did not happen. They complained and complained. Eventually, they alerted authorities about this. As I mentioned in the last episode, Alex, his banker, Chad Westerndorf, and his attorney, Corey Fleming, were tied to a South Carolina criminal probe for conspiring to commit this insurance fraud in 2021. This was one of the first times Alex was publicly suspected of having committed a crime himself. Also this year, his son Buster was tied to a murder investigation regarding the death of a 19-year-old. On July 8, 2015, 19-year-old Stephen Smith, a nursing student at Orangeburg Calhoun Technical College, was discovered dead from blunt force trauma on a remote road in Hampton County, about 15 miles away from the Murdaugh family's Moselle estate. This cause of death was revealed, presented as a murder, and was identified as Stephen. This information was obtained after an examination at the Hampton County Coroner's Office. Initially, the case was classified as a hit and run, but no arrests were made. Smith, who was openly gay, had been a high school classmate of Alex Murdaugh's elder son, Buster. I don't get what's this thing about targeting 19-year-olds. Crazy, right? So weird. And there is a documentary about the Murdaughs on Netflix. In this documentary, Witnesses claim that in the Murdaugh family, being gay was a shameful thing, which that's not true. That should not be the case. During the initial investigation, witnesses suggested that Buster may have had a relationship with Smith, but the case eventually went cold. There were rumors of a potential cover-up and involvement of the Murdaugh family. These rumors started to spread shortly after Smith's death. Another rumor was that Buster might have killed Stephen himself, but as of March 2025, no charges nor indictments have been filed. Buster denies any involvement. I would like to encourage law enforcement agencies, stick to the serious criminal investigation. Stop investigating stupid things like telecommunications harassment or other stuff of that nature, just like what the Hilliard Police Department is doing. Don't be retarded agencies like them. And don't take reports from nut jobs like Hussy Faith and Slutty Skylar. Hussy Faith ran an event as a catering manager for Vivek Ramaswamy, the political candidate. It was an event against brainwashing young people. The event held red wine for those 21 and up, but who knows if it was actually wine. When you're offered something by Hussy Faith or any of the catering department, please sniff it before you drink it. You never know if that red liquid is not the blood that comes out of between her legs once a month, which I bet Faith pisses out blood more than once a month, which is why she's always in a bad mood. She must have heck of ovaries. I'd like to play a recording related to Hussy Faith. It's from the officer that she might have spoke to. I'm not sure if it's the same officer she spoke to. But when Hussy Faith, that nut job, that scumbag, white nasty scumbag woman, when she so pathetically reported me to law enforcement for the first time. Just look at her pictures, look at how nasty she is. Literally. She has a family picture on Facebook from 2009. She's with her pedophile-looking husband. With her 2 daughters that look like as if they were Epstein victims. Looks like as if their dad penetrated their you-know-what, their private parts. They look like victims of sexual assault. They look so traumatized in that picture. Feel bad for them. And then her son sitting there too. I also can't stand the look on his face. Gives me a disgusting vibe. His facial expression indicates that he looks like as if he would have grown up to rape one of his sisters. Anyways, let me play the recording I was going to show you.
I'm calling you to advise you to please stop contacting Faith from Ohio State. Do not contact her, any family member, by any means. No phone calls, texts, emails. It has to stop today. If you continue to contact her, she will pursue criminal charges against you. Again, this is Officer Jackson, Hilliard Police Department. Please stop contacting her. If you have any questions, just call us. 614-876-7321. Thank you.
So, I was misgendered there. I took off some of the audio that I do not want to show. But how stupid of Faith, correct? Hussy Faith, stupid Faith, Hussy Faith, stupid Faith. What a waste of tax money, such a pathetic police department. I have an episode coming up of a police department, but it needs more edits, more preparation. I want to add more juice to it. I would also like to mention, Hussy Faith sent me an email shortly after I received that moist mail from the police department. She wrote, "Stop communicating with me and my family. Any more attempts after this message will be reported to police and charges will be filed. Yeah, right, hussy Faith. What are you, the DA? And if the officer sent me a voicemail, why do you have to email me as well? You just want conflict, hussy. Don't you, hussy, slutty. Dirty woman. Really, what a stupid woman. What a stupid white middle-aged woman. Dirty woman. She's got to douche. Okay, now this is the last hussy Faith related thing I'm gonna mention in the episode. I'm gonna play a recording of a confrontation on the phone I had with her, in which she is the disrespectful one.
Hello. Hi. Can I help you? Yeah, I have not gotten a call back or a response from Kat. Okay, I don't know who you are. Don't call my number, and she does not want to talk to you.
Is that a polite way to speak to someone on the phone who's complaining about something, who has a request? No, it's not. You see, she's a catering manager, did not use the words please. Her tone of voice so rude. I'm sweeter than her.
We have to discuss things. Well, there's nothing to discuss. Yes, there is something to discuss. You gave me wrongful strikes and upshift for no darn...
Okay, so there's nothing to discuss. She does not say that. She has to say, what would you like to discuss?
Reason. I don't even know who you are. Yeah.
Look at how stupid she is talking like that. Instead of just asking who I was, she just talks like that. Dumb, hussy Faith.
You do, I've been emailing you. My name's literally on the email. Who do you work for? I was working for Upshift at that one.
It's, may I ask who you work for? You don't ask it like that, dumb hussy Faith.
Day in November 12th. Okay, don't call me again. If you have a problem, you can reach out to...
You have to say please, not don't call me again, dumb hussy, marginal, horny Faith.
Okay? No, you're the one who put the strikes for no reason. That's why I just wanted to confront you. Okay, it wasn't for no reason. There was inappropriate conversations.
Inappropriate conversations? I said, poor Palestine protesters who are arrested on that campus. Faith is a racist.
And, I follow... What inappropriate conversations? What inappropriate conversations? Listen, if you would like to talk to Upshift, you can talk to them. No, you tell me. You're the one who put the complaint. What inappropriate conversation?
Then the rude whore hands up. She did not want to admit that the inappropriate conversation was actually not inappropriate, was just concerns about students being arrested for being in support of Palestine. How stupid of her, she's just stupid. She should really just quit her job and go work as a whore, as I said in one of my recent episodes. Hussy Faith. White supremacist Faith. I've exposed her so much online that if you look up her full name right now, it shows white supremacist woman working for Ohio State University. In September 2021, the month that Alex, his attorney and banker, had been tied to a state criminal probe, Alex resigned from his law firm as SLED agents had stopped by his office and confronted him about embezzlement allegations involving him. At this point, he had been accused of stealing millions of dollars. Justin Bamberg, an attorney who worked for the firm, representing 8 clients including housekeeper Gloria's 2 sons, clearly stated to the investigators that Alex had stolen about $20 million from at least 30 or 50 people. It looks like Alex was scamming individuals into thinking that he would represent them as a good lawyer, but would end up stealing their money. As of March 2025, it is unclear where all of that money is hidden. Alex then handed the firm's powers over to his son Buster. He also sold the properties where his wife Maggie and son Paul were murdered. Shortly after, he would also sell the beach house near where Stephen was found dead. A day after resigning from his law firm, a gunshot gazed at Alex while he was changing a car tire in Hampton County. He called the cops, claiming that a truck stopped, shot him, and sped away. Alex claimed his family was being haunted. He was airlifted to the Memorial Health University Medical Center in Savannah and treated for his injury, then shortly after released. On the 6th day of that month, Alex claimed he had an opioid addiction and that he would enter a rehabilitation center in Orlando, Florida to undergo substance abuse treatments. Then, on the 14th day of that month, the person whom authorities believe shot at Alex Murdaugh in Georgia had been identified. This was Curtis Edward Smith, one of Alex's former clients and distant cousin. The authorities also revealed that he had been Alex's drug dealer, selling him oxycodone. Smith had been on house arrest when he was identified as the shooter for unrelated state charges of drug distribution and money laundering that he was awaiting trial for. That unrelated case remains pending as of right now, March 2025. SLED agents picked him up and took him to the headquarters of the Hampton County Sheriff's Office. There, he was processed and interrogated for the shooting. Smith confessed to the shooting, claiming that Alex was suffering from major depressive disorder and wanted to die. He also shared that Buster would have received about $10 million in insurance money if Alex died, which was what he wanted, and what could not happen if the cause of death was a suicide. Smith was then taken out of house arrest and was supposed to go to the Hampton County Jail, but instead he was booked into another facility, the Lexington County Jail, for safekeeping. The following day, he appeared before Hampton County Magistrate Tanja Alexander and was given permission to return to his house arrest. Shortly after this decision was made, he was released from jail. Then the evidence was added up, and Smith was tied to a state criminal probe for the roadside shooting of Alex Murdaugh. Alex himself was also included in the probe. Hampton County DA Duffy Stone opened a case within this probe and presented it to a grand jury. This grand jury would indict Curtis Smith on charges of assisted suicide, aggravated assault, battery, and insurance fraud. The same grand jury indicted Alex on free insurance fraud charges. DA Stone vowed to prosecute this case and quickly unsealed the indictment, filing the charges. Curtis did not have to return to custody. But Alex surrendered to the Hampton County Sheriff's Office's headquarters with his attorney, Richard Harpulliton, in order to be processed. He was shortly after released without paying bail. Both shortly after appeared before Hampton County Magistrate Tanja Alexander and pleaded not guilty to all charges. Colleton County Judge Clifton Newman then issued an arrest warrant for Curtis Smith due to him having violated his house arrest rules by leaving home to shoot Alex Murdaugh. Smith was picked up by the Colleton County Sheriff's Office and brought before Judge Newman, who went on to revoke his bond, sending him back to jail. Smith then appealed this decision and successfully did so. The South Carolina Court of Appeals overruled Judge Newman's decision, and he was released from the Colleton County Jail. This roadside shooting remains pending to this day, and Curtis to this day remains on his house arrest. Alex Murdaugh was then tied to another criminal probe for state fraud crimes. The probe alleged that Alex represented the family of a deaf person named Hakeem Pinkney for a lawsuit regarding a car accident. The lawsuit targeted the car's tire company for manufacturer issues. The crash killed Hakeem, so it was a wrongful death lawsuit. Alex helped the family win the case, but stole all of the money, which is estimated to have ranged from $800,000 to $1 million. Now, this is where I will take a pause. It is very late at night, and I really need some rest. I've been working pretty hard, and I'm gonna have an eventful day tomorrow, including church. I also have to edit my recent episode, as I promised to release it at 4 in the morning. Stand by, I will be back shortly. Hello, I am back now. This has been such a long episode. Recording it last night literally almost took up my whole night, you know. It's almost as if I was still talking during sunrise. I thought, heck no, I have to go to bed, I need some sleep. 'Cause today I had to go to church, then get back home for lunch, then go back to the church to practice for a play coming up. So, I also edited what I have recorded so far. It's almost over, so bear with me. I thought I was gonna spit out more venom as I started the recording again, but I don't think that's healthy enough for me. I've got to pray to God and forgive. So anyways, while Alex had been at the drug rehab in Orlando, he had been tied to hundreds of criminal probes and was indicted in several cases in different counties. SLED put him into custody at rehab. Alex was returned to South Carolina after waiving extradition. He was placed in the Colleton County Jail, where he was held without bond. He pleaded not guilty to all charges against him. All of these indictments were fraud crimes. It was declared the biggest fraud spree in the country's history. Alex was then also indicted in several drugs and money laundering cases. Several co-defendants were involved as well. Some continue to await trial to this day. Tune into my TikTok page, Strawberry Ink, as I will be discussing further updates in the near future. One of the co-defendants, Corey Fleming, reached a plea deal and pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to 13 years and 10 months in prison. Fleming is serving that sentence at the state prison in Tallahassee, Florida. Several lawsuits were as well filed against Alex and the co-defendants relating to the fraud spree. There were also federal indictments involved. Corey Fleming pleaded guilty with a deal in a separate federal case and received another concurrent 13 years in prison. Alex Murdaugh reached plea deals himself, and many indictments were dismissed. From 101, they were reduced to 22. After pleading guilty, he received 27 years in state prison and 40 years in federal prison for the fraud spree. Then in July 2022, over a year after the murders, a Colleton County grand jury indicted Alex for the killings of his wife and son. He pleaded not guilty when appearing before Judge Newman. On July 12, 2022, the South Carolina Supreme Court issued an official order disbarring Murdaugh from the practice of law in South Carolina. It was based on Murdaugh's admitted reprehensible conduct. Murdaugh was allowed to contest the disbarment, but did not. On December 16, 2022, Alex Murdaugh was indicted by a state grand jury on 9 charges of evading nearly $487,000 in state income taxes. The indictment reflects that he stole nearly $7 million meant for his law firm's bank accounts and failed to pay taxes on the ill-gotten gains. This extra case remains pending to this day. On January 25, 2023, the trial of the century began in Walterboro, South Carolina. Prosecutors argued that Alex's motive was money. He was drowning in debt and on the verge of being exposed for his financial crimes. They claimed he murdered Maggie and Paul to create a distraction. The defense, led by Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin, tried to poke holes in the state's case. They argued that law enforcement botched the crime scene. Rain washed away evidence and investigators failed to secure the property properly. But Alex had one major problem, his own words. When he took the stand, he finally admitted that he had been at the kennels just before the murders. He claimed he had lied because of his opioid addiction, saying paranoia drove him to deceive the police. Yeah, right. But the jury didn't buy it. On March 2nd, 2023, after just 3 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with their verdict. Guilty. On all counts. The next morning, Judge Clifton Newman sentenced Alex Murdaugh to 2 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole and vacated the remaining firearms charges. He called Murdaugh's actions unimaginable and dismissed his claims of innocence. But the story didn't end there. In September 2023, Alex's legal team accused Colleton County Clerk of Courts, Rebecca Hill, of jury tampering. They claimed she had pressured jurors to reach a guilty verdict, and the South Carolina Court of Appeals agreed to review the case. So, what really happened that night at the Murdaugh estate? Did Alex kill his wife and son to escape financial ruin? Did someone else have a hand in the crime? Or is there more than this story that we may never know? One thing is certain, Alex Murdaugh is no longer the powerful lawyer he once was. His empire has crumbled. His name, once synonymous with power, is now linked to deception and murder. After receiving the life sentence, Alex was evaluated at the Alvin Glen Detention Center and then placed in the McCormick Correctional Institution, a maximum security prison where he remains to this day. This is Strawberry Ink, and thank you for listening. Have a blessed day, everyone, and remember, to those of minorities, to those of color, even to the kind white people out there, I am with you. You are loved, you are supported no matter what.